Welcome guys to the session Breaking Barrier Inside the Mind of Pentester. And my name is Himanshu Srivastava, and I'm currently certified in many certifications like Certified Ethical Hacker, Certified Network Defender, Certified Cyber Security Threat CCT part, and I've been certified in CPENT as well. I'm certified in many other certifications from different vendor, and I'm also the proud trainer from the EC Council portal. So I'm the CEI as well. And if I talk about, I have a 6 international research paper, 1 national research paper, that too in the cyber security and reverse engineering majorly. And I'm working on the quantum computing these days. So very soon I'll definitely go for a new white paper in the field of quantum computing, which you might have heard about. And I do give lots of training. So there are many regions. I give the training to many government officials from different countries. And currently I'm working as under the Tech Mahindra, which is very renowned in India and globe, as a cybersecurity specialist, as an associate manager. Now, this particular cyber talk, it talks about the penetration testing. So if I talk about how do you identify that particular person is a real pen tester. So there's a one small proverb, or I would say the quote, which talks about, like, if you want to beat a hacker, you have to think like him, or you have to think like a hacker. Reason being, in order to catch some individuals or a group, you need to first a little bit step ahead apart from them, and then only you will be able to identify. And likewise, it says that if you want to go ahead inside of any organization, first you need to get to know how to break that, and then only you can you can know about how to defeat, or how you can defend the organization. So this is the basic idea who I have and what I do. So today's agenda, we are going to step into the introduction of penetration testing, scoping and engagement part, different type of OSINT, open source intelligence and social engineering part, network and web application testing, where we'll be talking about various types of networking and their terminologies, what are the different types of it. And we'll go also for the IoT and OT, or SCADA, which is like Internet of Things, organization based kind of operational technologies, and SCADA or cloud. And lastly, we are open for Q&A. So what is the pen testing? So as we discussed about, pen testing is all about, you are not dealing only to get penetrate into some environment, whether it is an infra or server or something like that. No, it's not like that. It's completely the partial story, or I would say one side of a coin. But the moment you flip the coin, you'll be also dealing with the legal part. You'll be also dealing with multiple structure which is there in the infrastructure part. So identifying various type of exploitable vulnerabilities, that is the first part you need to look into if you want to behave or think like a penetration tester. You have to also measure the impact, how much or how critical it can impact the moment you get into the successful attack. And you also test for various type of detection mechanisms, like incident response part also, because penetration is not about tracking and then getting into. It's like ultimately we do it because we want to improve the overall security of it. And there are multiple things that is there inside of it, and we have to look for every in individual way. So it's like you are going beyond the vulnerability scanning, then you land to the penetration testing. And ultimately I would say the major crux why we go for, or what is the major objective of penetration testing, is to first identify the vulnerability. You have to measure the risk, how much risk exposure it can lead to, like various type of risk exposure, which is starting from low, critical, medium, high, and information perspective as well. Apart from that, you have to validate what are the existing security controls that is there applicable or applied in the particular organization that you should be testing on various type of tools like firewall, or you can go for any mechanism like multi-factor authentication, or you can go for IDS IPS. So there are multiple security controls that is basically implemented, and we have to look into it. Ultimately, the one part which I mentioned, which is very critical part, which is a legal part. Why I'm saying that? Because legal part is directly having a relation with the compliance, and if you are not compliant, nobody is going to do the business with you in the global market. So like if I talk about in India, there is a many payment gateway payment platforms like Paytm, or if I'll go on the global perspective like PayPal, they'll go for PCI DSS as a compliance, which is a payment card industry data security standard. Or if you want to go for ISMS, so you have to go for ISO compliance 27001 2021. So there are many types of compliance part. You have to be compliant in order to get the proper objective definition for your penetration testing. And ultimately why we go for it, because I want to perform the good, or I would go for the improving the security posture of any organization. So we have to go for those kind of a thing. Ultimately it will lead us and then define us that we are the the real penetration tester who is doing and applying all those kind of a KRAs into it. So there are different type of boxes that you can see, like black box, white box, gray box. These are the major types of boxes, I would say, the type of penetration tester. So black box, if I'll talk about, black box is all about, let's say I'm just giving you a kind of a environment. I'll throw you in a river and then say swim, because you are a good swimmer, but I just want to check it how good you are. So I'm just throwing you in any environment which you don't have any single idea what is the depth, what is the the current wave right now of the particular river, something like that. So you have to dig deeper dive by yourself, and then you are trying to getting the more out of it. So here in the black box testing, the penetration tester, he doesn't have any kind of a prior idea. I would say prior idea means he doesn't have any knowledge about the environment, and it is exactly the replica or the simulation how the real world bug bounters or the penetration tester which generally go for. So there are various tools that we use in the market, like you might have heard about Nmap, network mapper. You might have heard about Burpsuit. You might have heard about Metasploit. There are there's a plethora of tools that is in the market, but right now my major focus is not dig deeper into the tool perspective, but rather than the strategic part perspective. If I talk about the white box testing on the another side, which means that I am giving you the complete knowledge of the environment. You have complete idea what is exact this environment, what is which folder has what kind of a file. So you have full knowledge about it. Okay, like about the source code event, that kind of information you would have, and you should also knowing about the, I would say, the basic documentation, which is very, very critical documentation. Rather, I would say that internal documentation over here. So everything. But I want to check why I want to go for white box testing, because I want to check the insider threat. Who is the one who is behaving like he is a very much gentle, genuine, but not exactly the way he is or she is holding a mask. So over here in the white box testing, I'm just deeping dive into the core part of it, and it is very much ideal situation where some penetration tester who go for to check the security audit of it. So generally white box testing we use for the auditing perspective. In terms of the gray box testing, which is a mix and match. So gray box kind of a scenario where you have a partial knowledge, not complete knowledge. You should be knowing about some user credential, but not the admin credential. You'll be knowing what is the network topology, whether it is a bush, mesh, star, ring, or hybrid kind of a thing, but you don't have the complete knowledge about it. But you have to make a make a balance between the realistic and the accessible realistic information. So here it is very, very good for if I want to check for the real assessment of the infrastructure. So these are the major three part, and majorly I'll go for this gray box testing. I'll go for the Burpsuit, one of the best suite, I would say, that a kind of a tool it has. Or if you have some database like the SQL, then you can go for SQL map as well. so that will go for it. And if you are right now these days we are going for the API testing, so API testing we can go for the Postman as well. So Postman also does for API testing over here. Now this scoping and engagement part, if I would say that, let's say you have given a deadline for a month to any organization to do the security auditing as a penetration tester. Client says everything is okay, and then you are going into it and then you do all those things. But after 15 days, he said, no, I want to make some slight change, but you have to do it within the stipulated time itself. So in that case, in that scenario, it will be very trickier situation, because client or the particular person or the vendor itself, they are saying that we are giving the sufficient time, but now he has given additional task to us, and the time it is little bit tricky, or a kind of it is sticking to the bomb for us, because we know that it is within the certain time period, we cannot execute it completely. So defining the scope, it's very, very important, because ultimately if you define the scope, you are getting what kind of asset you need to target in order to perform the auditing, what is that indirect goal that you are looking for, and what sort of direct or indirect constraint that you may go for. So in this part, scoping and engagement part, I would say, or I would summarize in a way, like if I'll give a goal without having a plan, that goal will become like a wish only. It will nothing else. So in that case, this particular proverb suits very well, where you don't have proper written ideal documentation, what is allowed and what is, I would say, off the limit. So you will be a little bit skeptical in that scenario, and that scenario is not good for as a penetration tester. So here you have to go for and check for that what is important, how much it is critical, why it is important. Actually you are creating and you are setting the boundary for yourself, and that boundary will define, and ultimately you will be able to perform the desired business operations that you want to go for and that you want to protect. Okay, quite similar like the legal and ethical considerations. So as I said, like ISO compliances, PCI compliances, you have to very much compliant with these kind of scenarios. And there's the one term like non-disclosure agreement, rule of engagement, non-disclosure agreement. If I'll say like you are going for auditing in a banking environment, so in the banking environment you cannot perform the DOS attack, because right now it is accessible and the service is actually accessible by the multiple clients which is situated across the globe. You cannot perform those things. So you have to be proper understanding what is being given, whether you want to touch internal server or you have to perform completely onto the external server. So those kind of a thing ultimately should not hamper the production environment which is actually running. And in order to avoid those accidents, I would go for the scoping and this rule of engagement. So it is quite similar, like you have to go for all those kind of specifications, like what is the attack type that you will look for, whether it is performing or allowing the DOS attack, whether it is giving you a kind of a window which is a kind of a safe testing period. Let's say after 5 p.m. I mean there's a generally 9 to 5 kind of a time period which is generally our organization employee they do work, but post 5 to 8, that is the time window that you will be allocated, and then within this time window you have to perform the things. There's also some sort of notification channels which will go for you have to if something happens you have to notify to this department. That is also coming under the rule of engagement part, and that ultimately taken as a consent form from your side. So you are the one who actually used for the production in a much better way, and trying to restrain yourself not to perform certain activity which may impact the organization as a whole. And that's what the complete story. Okay, you might have heard about non-disclosure agreement, many documents, so where we also define the scope, that what is the confidential part, what is the I would say the internal procedures that you need to follow. Let's say you are going in China or any other location where that is not your native country. So in that case, these parts are very much critical. Okay, and this is a kind of a agreement part. I would say it is a legal agreement, non-disclosure agreement, and that will take care of you. So over here I have already defined, you have to define the test, you have to define the scope, and you have to define the rule of engagement. That is major and critical part of your planning. And then you have to go for executing the test, which is a kind of approval, post approval you need to go for, and then you report it, and ultimately you manage the risk. So it is very, very important. You should be taking the consent form. You should be going for, I mean, there are multiple type of consent form. You can go for third party consent form. You can go for client specific consent form as well. There is a sometime you are be on roll, so you become the on roll employee for so and so company. So you become the you will be getting the employee consent in that case. So AWS does this kind of activity. You can check it out on AWS platform, and consent form under the penetration testing, you will be able to see that. Okay, so that is the very, very good way in order to define the scope and create your engagement accordingly. Always remember, a penetration tester should not only have the skill set which is getting known about getting inside of the vulnerabilities or get exploit and find the bug and then fix it out, but also there's a non-technical applicability is also very important. Non-technical means he or she should have very good in the communication part. So the audience or the stakeholders he or she is taking care of, they should be very much in sync. So the communication is very much appropriate to all those relative stakeholders, and ultimately it will be giving you the proper good connection along with the good reporting part, and that will help you in your career growth. So I would say you should be properly creating the right scoping and well defined, well structured scoping. You should be signing with different type of consent form or NDA part. You should be going for everything should be written. I mean, you should be going for pre-defined timeline or time frame should be also defined, and ultimately you have to be legally compliant with those kind of activities. Next part is open source intelligence. What is the open source intelligence? It is, people used to come and say that we have identified this thing from Pastebin, we have identified this thing from some social media site. So right now you see across the globe, information has very big power itself. I mean, information itself is a power. But if I'll say that if you don't know where to look for so and so file which you are looking for, it will be a kind of the battle is there, but half of the battle. You don't know complete battle. If you know that certain thing is placed at certain drawer and you are going to catch it or you are going to get it, completely you know all those things. But if you don't know that which way you need to go to get that particular thing from the drawer, it will be a complete mess and also time killing part. Open source intelligence is the one who will be giving you the much more good insightful view. I'll also show one small lab, a glimpse of lab, so you'll be getting a pretty clear idea how it can help you. So ultimately, in the field of OSINT, I would say that OSINT is not a kind of a tool, but it is a kind of a process where you are gather the information, which is a reconnaissance majorly, about certain individuals, organizations, or target, I would say, in a single code. And you are gathering this information from the public places, and that will giving you much more vulnerability informations. It could be IoT related, it could be any individual related, it could be the infrastructure perspective, it could be the real-time cameras, IP cameras I'm talking about, and you can check it out by their vulnerabilities and get the information out as per your choice. So OSINT is something which is you are gathering the information before any kind of attacker who does get it from your defined environment. And that's what the ultimate goal over here. I'm catching the information which is publicly available, but it is a confidential for me. So I'm just catching it, fixing it, and then let it open, access other global audience. So there are many law enforcement also is there, like GDPR you might have heard about, Sarbanes-Oxley Act. There's a PCI-DSS also that is also there for the this PII. There's a HIPAA also that is there. So there are many things, many legal and compliant also. But ultimately these days people are gathering the information from publicly available records, which I would say like DNS record. If you want to go for GitHub for any kind of code repository, that is also there. And if someone wants to go for dark web, they can also go for the dark web as a leaked or leaked database, leaked celebrity informations. There could be multiple things. So using these kind of environment and tools, someone can get the better view who you are, and ultimately we want to protect it from. So there are many tools like email dump. We do have I been pwned. There's a one one website which will be giving you the email. You put it your email and you'll get to know that whether your data is publicly available by so and so forth or not. So this is also one part of it. Some of the brands, they do it because they want to protect their brand identity. Recently there's a one incident happens in the McDonald's AI recruiter, which is by the name Olivia, and you might have heard about that. Roughly around, more than, if I'm not wrong, more than 10 billion of data has been leaked for all those applicants who has posted their resume on their platform. So this is AI recruiter part which is there, and you'll be shocked to know there's a username and their password was admin as a username, and the password was 12345. This is a real example. You can Google it out and you'll check it by yourself. So those brands itself these days, they want to, they know that the technology is something which is completely changing every night, and we have to keep ourselves up to date. Otherwise it will be something will be take over us. So they want to secure themselves from the phishing attacks. They want to decrease the rate of phishing, I would say that. They want to check whether their credentials are being dumped from some location, and that's what their ultimately agenda. They want to keep themselves as an early alert kind of a bot. They keep on working on it, and then how this is how they want to prevent those critical credential harvesting or stuffing kind of attacks. Okay, so back in 2018, British Airways also, their database got breached because of they have some job posting. Because of open source intelligence, attacker got the information and they hacked their system. So there are many use cases that is there in the market, and we have to be very much certain about it rather than creating a hype. That is very important. There's also one scenario which is a Twitter Bitcoin hack which has happened in recent years, which is in 2020 if I'm not wrong. They also performed the brute force attack. Apart from that, they did go for the spear phishing attack for their internal staff, which is available on the LinkedIn. They gather the information from LinkedIn platform and then perform attack. They get the access, and that's how they use the OSINT in favor of them. Okay, so there are many tools like the Harvester is a very famous in the market. We do have Amas that is also available in the market. You can go for checking out the subdomain part. We can go for Shodan also. Okay, so I will also show a small demo over here with regards to the Shodan, how it can work out. Social engineering pen testing, it is why it is very, very important, why it is very much critical also. So if I'll say, and if I'll ask rather than that, human are the weakest chain of the information to be hampered, or the machine? most of you will say that it is human, because human are having lots of features like emotions. Correct? Emotion is a one part. If I'll hit correctly, I'll be able to get access of individual or the company, and the person will easily give the information to us. Okay, so that is one saying that you can trust machine at once, but do not trust human. That is also one part, as a quote I have read somewhere. So human are the weakest link, and make sure that you should not be trapped by any individual by so and so mean. Okay, so examples like we do have phishing, we have a pretexting, we have a baiting, and also multiple other ways. So what are the case studies? I mean, there are many scenarios which I have just now mentioned in front of you all. You will be able to see that, and you'll be, once you read the case study, you'll be surprised that this is how this is easy for an attacker to gather the information within this, very fraction of minutes. You'll be getting complete detail of the organization and individuals as well. Okay, so network pen testing. Everybody knows that these days network is something which is very, very important for us, and we should not be saying that if we are safe today, we cannot say the same thing tomorrow, that tomorrow will also be safe. No, network is something which is playing very, very critical part in the field of penetration testing, because your network is only as strong as its weakest link. So over here there are various type of network testing. Generally we go for external, or we can go for internal. External, like something which we have stored on the external server, and which is publicly accessible as well. So in general way, I want to identify those kind of links, and trying to get more insightful view of it. Ultimately my main intention, or my main aim, to go for these network pen testing, because I want to detect the vulnerabilities. I want to validate the various type of security controls as well. I want to prevent the data breach. That is the ultimate goal as a penetration tester who is on roll for a company, or they are doing for it, and they want to protect them from the attackers. So network pen testing, it is playing very vital role, because even a small loophole or vulnerabilities or misconfiguration, they may create a huge impact in your organization. So we have to be very much aware and skeptical about it. Like, we should be very much certain about what is a VPN configuration we do have, what is a firewall configuration we do have, what is a wireless configuration, or the encryption mechanism that we have used for the wireless. So make sure these kind of information are very much certain and stored, and these configurations are properly managed. And we can use many tools like Nmap, Nessus, Metasploit over here. And if I talk about for the network perspective, we do have internal network like our own organization network. So we should not completely rely on that. We should be securing external, and we are happy for the internal network. Possibly I would not say that, because there are some malicious actor or malicious intent can come in the organization employee as well. They may share the information to the public to gain much more monetary value or some other benefits. So there are many websites, there are many tools that is available in the market. You can download it and check for their configuration perspective, and then make yourself secure. There's a network perimeter devices. So generally we go for testing for them. We can go for the firewall routers in order to test them. We can go for generally I'm talking about the hardware perspective with regards to the firewall. With regards to the rule misconfiguration, so there are many firmware vulnerabilities. Recently, if I talk about even Microsoft Team or SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint has some vulnerabilities. Because of it, the user or the attacker can escalate it to get the admin privilege, and this has happened in past 2 or 3 days. This is a recent vulnerabilities that you can also check under the CV by their CV score. So in simple word, configuration part, even you have the best to best kind of a device, but if you have misconfiguration of those devices, that will also lead to kind of a vulnerabilities. And I'll not be very much certain about only the firewalls, but there are many tools, software tools, which will also ultimately indirectly they open the ports, and then attacker get through using those kind of a port. So my suggestion and recommendation, always go for checking the updates, keep your system application 100% up to date, and make sure you have proper implemented of access control policy. You can go for least privilege policy as well. So you will give the nothing less, nothing more, only the specific one which is required, you go for it. Okay, there are many ways by which we can identify using the best tool. I would say that you can go for Nmap as well. You can also go for the responder for the internal intranet network, using if any system which is mostly in the organization they use the Active Directory, so we can go for that. Okay, web application pen testing is also very critical part. So why I would say and talk about web application pen testing, let me quickly go ahead over here onto the Google page, and you can talk about OAP's top 10. So if you go over here, OAP's top 10, you will be seeing that right now they are about to release 2025, but right now it is 2021, and over here you can see they have the top 10 OAP's vulnerabilities. They have listed down like broken access control, cryptographic failure, injection, insecure design, security misconfiguration, which I keep emphasizing on, vulnerable and outdated component, identification and authentication failure, software and data integrity failure, and server-side request forgery, security login monitoring failure. Quite similar, like this is for the web application. You can go for the API as well, and you can read about everything it over here. So they have given proper explanation. You can check out their website and you'll get much more insightful view of it. As I was talking about, every information is available onto the internet. So you can go for Brahmas. This is the OSINT. Okay, and this is a powerful collection of intelligence tool for research, investigation, and cyber security. So as an example, if I'll go for Nmap, just to give an quick view of it. Mass. Okay, it is not showing. I'll just go for HTTP. So here, Facebook. Okay, I guess this platform has some issue. No issue. We can go for other way. There are many tools. So we have OSINT framework. This is also one of the framework which we'll be using for it. So certain times some website will not work, or some website has some updates happening, so that's why it is not happening, but you can also use that. OSINT framework, let's say if you want to go for certain username, email ID, domain name, IP and MAC address, images, social network, instant messaging, dating, public record, business record, search engines, archive, metadata, mobile emulation, terrorism, dark web. If I'll go for dark web, you have seen multiple options like Tor. Most of you heard about Tor, correct? So we can go for Tor, and we can go for discovery part as well, like Onion Search, Tor Bot, Tor Scan. Okay, we can go for OSINT investigation, Docker, Onion, and Nmap also. We can go for it. It will be applicable on Linux and Debian environment. And there is AI tools also, ChatGPT, DuckDuckGo, AI ChatGPT, WormGPT. You have Shell GPT also. Okay, multiple models, but it's up to you which model you like the most. Let's say I'll go for domain name, and I want to check for, let's say some subdomain part over here. So you can see it has multiple options, and I have mentioned the harvester. So you can go for the harvester, install it and check it out. Likewise, we have, let's say, findsubdomain.com. I'm just going, okay, this website, it is not working, no issue. We have multiple other options. So I'll go for, let's say, this list of subdomains. So if I'll go over here, EC Council, I'm just going for it. Don't think that I'm doing any kind of hacking or something. I'm just going for ecouncil.org. So it will give the generation, what are the subdomain it will identify under it. So there are many options, many ways, okay, and you have to keep on going. So you can see that it is checking out all those information and their respective IP addresses, and roughly around 181 results has been identified. So you can go over here without installing, and still right now it is performing 33%. I've not done anything extra. I'm not installing any tool. I'm just going for the web portal and it is giving me the subdomains, which is humanly not possible until unless we'll not install any third-party tool. So this is a kind of a sum up part. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to go for OSINT perspective, let's say I will go over here and in my environment, this is my Kali environment, Linux environment. Most of you have heard about it, and due to the time constraint, I'm going a little bit fast, but I'll just quickly wrap it up so you guys be able to understand what I'm trying to convey. So I'm going to perform a small demonstration for the social media, or social engineering rather than I would say social media, because otherwise it will be a little bit longer. So I'm just opening my terminal. Okay, it is opening, so give me a minute only. Right now the process is completely high of my machine. Okay. So my terminal or the shell is now running, and I'll quickly go ahead. Let's say I want to go to any website and I want to perform the phishing attack, and I want to check whether the victim, which I'll share the website link, whether they are getting the access, or whether we as an attacker, we are getting the username and password once we'll share the phishing link to that particular victim. So here I'll go for creating, or I'll go for performing one phishing attack using the social engineering toolkit. So this is a set toolkit as a particular command, and I'll go for in my environment. And let's say for me, the target website, it is github.com. Okay, so I'm just going for github.com. For everybody over here, this is a small demonstration, so you guys be able to understand what I am trying to convey. This is GitHub, which is building and ship the software on a single collaborative platform. And here, the moment I have executed, this has given us social engineering toolkit, and we have selected certain menus like social engineering attack, pen testing, third-party modules, update the social engineering toolkit, update the SET configurations, and so on. So let's say I want to perform the social engineering attack, and out of it, it has given me what are the kind of attack you want to go for. Spear phishing attack, website attack vector, create a payload, mass mailer, Adreno base attack. So let's say I want to go for any website because I'm targeting for GitHub, and it has says that what kind of a attack you want to perform. So there are 7 options, and all those options which is mentioned with their description, you can read it out. I'm just going a little bit fast because of the time scarcity. We can go for credential harvesting, which means we can get the username and password. So I'll select this third option, and I want to clone a site, and the site is this GitHub. So let's say I'll click on this sign in page, and I want to give 1 to 15 seconds to everybody to look for this login page, and then I'll just copy the website link from this GitHub login page. And GitHub login is the UI part. If I'll talk about, the moment I click on login, it looks like this. Sign into GitHub, you have to put your username, password, and this is your web UI of GitHub. So what I'll do, I'll go in the terminal and say that I want to clone a site. Select option 2. It says that which IP you want to post with as a victim, as a listening IP. So I'll say 10.10.1.13, and then it says that which website you want to clone, URL. I'll just give the URL. I'll click enter, and the moment I hit enter, it is saying that it will take a little bit. You have to wait for it. And this is the URL. I'll go over here and open another loopback address, or I would say the listening address, which is 10.10.1.13 in my case. I hit enter, and the moment I hit enter, let's see. Okay, now I'll refresh this page, and the moment I go for this IP 10.10.1.13, you'll be seeing a different web page now. Can you see that? This is the IP which has completely make a replica of this GitHub web URL. And if I'll send this link to someone and say that this is a real repository, you can access it. So you can use your username and password. So let's say I'm a user, and I'll say himanshu@ecouncil.org, and password I'll say admin@1234. I hit enter. I know that this is the right one, but nothing happens. So I feel like I made a mistake in the password, and this time you can see the URL is now the real URL, and the web page which you'll be seeing, it is now this one. So you'll say that okay, might be we have made some mistake in the password, let me rewrite it. But at the back side, attacker has got your complete detail, which is like authentication token, your username, and your password. This is how the real attack happened in terms of phishing part and the social engineering part. Okay, so this is the real practical examples. I hope you guys have understood what I'm trying to convey. Now, coming back to the PPT part. So if I talk about the web application pen testing, we have gone for OAP's top 10. We have seen why it is coming. We have seen the techniques, different type of technique. I did not show the SQL cross-site scripting and cross-site request forgery, but these are the different technique by which we can use it. And there are many tools like Burp Suite, Zap, which is a Zap proxy. Nikto is also for use for the web servers, vulnerabilities part. So we can go for these tools. Now coming to the IoT pen testing, Internet of Things penetration testing. So here, in terms of IoT, it is everywhere. I mean, you use Google Home, Siri, Alexa, everything is running on the IoT, Internet of Things. But these particular hardware or the PLCs or the particular devices, it's not 100% secure even till date, because there are many security protocols which is not been aligned. So we have the limited device resources, and we have diverse protocol like Modbus. Okay, there are many other protocols that we use in this part in IoT, but I would rather say that there's a lots of scope is left out in terms of IoT to make it secure. Even the world is evolving and we are also, so we have to look for some other criteria, because using this IoT I can check the IP camera of someone, their daily habit, and what sort of the routine, and that's the pretty chunk of good data. I can use it against him or her. The last part, which is a cloud penetration testing, is something, if cloud is actually its blessing, but somewhere around it is also not that good in terms of relying 100% onto it, because there are not 100% well equipped skillful people across the globe. Not 100%, I'm saying again. Up to certain extent, there are people who knows everything in and out, but cloud is something which is again having lots of scope to improve, and there are some misconfigurations like key vault or some other key chaining part. If you are not taking care proper precaution, it may lead to the devastating situations. Identity access management or their misuse is also one of the key critical part which we cannot ignore at all. So we have to look for those kind of a thing. Public endpoint exploit. So those servers who are on the public facing, those cloud server, those are public facing. That is also some sort of ways by which attacker can get those kind of information easily, and then some news will come in next day. So those kind of scenarios may happen. Lateral movement is also very easy in certain scenarios under the cloud. So you can go for some certain user who is a low level privilege, but you go for some other user who has a little bit higher level of access control privilege in terms of that, and you are spreading across the network itself or spreading across the different cloud environment. So that is also one of the key critical part we should be taking care, and precautionary measurement should be taken in order to do the better security implementation. Data exposure, ultimately if you not take all those things, definitely your data will be exposed and you will be nowhere. So better go for learning. You should be go and make yourself habitual. If you want to target the CPEN program or some other program, you should be keep on learning, checking out what is happening across the globe, and then accordingly you can do the good jobs. Okay, so over here at the last slide, which is from my side, I would want to thank you everybody, those who have come over here and dedicated their time for this particular webinar. One thing I would say that technology is evolving, and it is evolving very rapidly. So in the field of penetration testing, whether it is a network, whether it is a web application, whether it is a IoT, whether it is a cloud, it is not just the security, I would say, it is not just the security requirement, but it is a proactive defensive strategy that you should be looking for. And remember, the early step you take, the more security you may provide to your end user or your customers. So it is there's a saying, it is good to resolve the vulnerabilities first, so it will be very cheaper for you to make the deal and get the desired outcome. So better if you are fixing the issues before it will be publicized, it will be much cheaper, because ultimately it will not hamper your reputation, and that's how the thing happens in the field of cybersecurity. Okay, so generally it depends upon the organization size and the policy, but it is a good practice to go for once in a year, and this is for the external, and twice in a year for internal. No, it's like the one who perform, they are holding the hat. Black box is one of the terminology. I mean, you are getting into the Windows environment which you have no idea about it. and if you are having no idea about that environment becomes the black box testing. And if you are black hat hacker who is doing those kind of activity generally for the monetary purpose without written legal consent from the particular vendor or for the particular website or web server or the company for that matter. So these are two different things. White hat hacker, black hat hacker, and gray hat hacker, these are the attackers, the real attacker, or I would say the attack vectors. The attackers. So these are the cyber actors. So what they generally do, black hat hackers, they don't have proper approval, or they don't even care about the consequences. Generally they are the very good in terms of the cyber security per se. They are very skillful, but they have some malicious intent. So that's what they make themselves as a black hat. If I'll talk about white hat hackers, they are generally acquired by the company. White hat hackers, even the Meta X, Twitter, they also do have their cyber security expert. They are known as white hat hacker, but they are identifying the vulnerability in order to improve the security. That is a white hat hacker. On the another side, white box, it's like the environment, correct? So it's like similar looking terms, but ultimately it is giving you the real realm where you can perform the attack by different hat you can wear, and accordingly you can work upon. So I would say go for not focusing on the tool, rather than you can start your journey with the Parrot operating system, which has lots of tool inbuilt prior to it. If you want to go for the Linux environment, if you want to go for Windows environment, you can go for Windows 19 server, or even you can go for Windows 22 server as well. These are the good environment you can look for and make your own Active Directory environment, go for foresting, and then creating domain user and other thing, and then you can perform the multiple attack onto it, check how it will work. These are the major two platforms I would say and recommend for the starting of your cybersecurity journey. Okay, so drone pen testing, it's like PLC related. I would say you have Google over here. Specifically I have not dealt into the drone pen testing for now, because for that I should have the drone, which I don't have right now, so I didn't go for it. But you have Google, you have the Chat GPT, you can go ahead and check it out by yourself. See, there's one thing I'll say again, and there are lots of scenario. Recently I just give the example of this McDonald AI recruiter. AI cannot bypass human intelligence. As a cybersecurity specialist, you must take the help of Chat GPT or Shell GPT or Worm GPT. There are multiple GPT models in the market, but those GPT will work upon the given structure or the data set which is mentioned by you or by the like-minded cybersecurity professionals. But something which comes from within, which is like if I'll go for my own strategy, I would that strategy might not be the similar way which AI will propose. Otherwise, until unless if someone has not the same kind of like-minded, and then go ahead and get the real-time environment. Otherwise, you may think about if AI can take the leverage of cybersecurity professional, they will start going for the bug bounty rather than us. Okay, so it can never surpass, but I would say they are the helping hand. Use it accordingly, but don't depend on it completely. So if he has completely moved from different domain to this cybersecurity, I would say go from the CSCU. That is a preliminary. Even you know some concept, no issue. Go start with that CSCU, very basic preliminary course. Then you can start with CEH. Then you can go for Certified Network Defender. And once you get hands-on on these kind of a thing, then you may go for CPET. Simple, like stay curious, guys. Like the way you guys are questioning and asking the questions to me, I can see that you guys have some sort of glimpse and some thought of how you want to proceed further. So stay curious, think like a hacker if you want to become one, and but always be very much responsible that what you are doing, okay? Because if you'll bypass the certain small line, it may deviate your career completely. So do not play around, I mean, until unless you don't know how to safeguard yourself. And as last, keep learning and keep securing the environment. That's all. Thank you.